Hare Krishna. Let us start with our invocation. Om Ajnanandasya Jnananjana Tatsurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Himate Bhakti Vedanta Vinidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpantarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So today we'll start third chapter, 6th verse. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. 136. Sa eva pratamam deva paumaram sargam ashrita chachara duscharam brahma brahmacharyam akhanditam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Lois Prabhuji.
Translation. First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the 4 unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute purpose. The creation of the material world is effected, maintained, and then again annihilated at certain intervals. So there are different names of the creations in terms of the particular type of Brahma, the father of the living beings in the creation. The Kumaras, as above mentioned, appeared in the Kumara creation of the material world, and to teach us the process of Brahman realization, they underwent a severe type of disciplinary action as bachelors. These Kumaras are empowered incarnations, and before executing the severe type of disciplinary actions, all of them became qualified Brahmanas. This example suggests that one must first acquire the qualifications of the Brahmana, not simply by birth but also by quality, and then one can undergo the process of Brahman realization. Hare Krishna.
Vitiyam tu bhavanyasya rasatala mahim Tarishyan upadata yagnesha saukaram vahu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Nityaman.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. Purport. The indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. There cannot be any incarnation without a particular function, and such functions are always extraordinary. They are impossible for any living being to perform. The incarnation of the boar was to take the earth out of Pluto's region of filthy matter. Picking up something from a filthy place is done by a boar, and all the powerful personality of Godhead displayed this wonder to the Asuras, who had hidden the earth in such a filthy place. There is nothing impossible for the personality of Godhead, and although he played the part of a boar by the devotees, he is worshipped, staying always in transcendence. Hare Krishna.
138. Tritiyam Rushi Sargam Vai Devarshitam Upetyatha Tantram Satvatam Chasteyatha Naiskarmyan Karmanam Tataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Sri Ganesh Prabhuji.
In the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas, which deals with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive actions. The great Rishi Narada, who is an empowered incarnation of the personality of Godhead, propagates devotional service all over the universe. All great devotees of the Lord all over the universe are in different planets and species of life. are his disciples. Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also one of his disciples. Narada is the author of Narada
Pancharat.
Pancharatra, which is the exposition of the Vedas, particularly for the devotional service of the Lord. This Narada Pancharatra trains the karmis or the fruitive workers to achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive works. The conditioned souls are mostly attracted by fruitive works because they want to enjoy life by the sweat of their own brows. The whole universe is full of fruitive workers in all spheres of life. The fruitive works include all kinds of economic development plans, but the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of the work is bound up by such reactions, good or bad. The reaction of good work is comparative material and prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information of how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditional state. Sri Narada informed these foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives directions to the deceased men of the world how one's present engage can lead one to part of spiritual emancipation. The physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of curd for his sufferings from the indigestion due to taking another milk preparation. So the cause of the disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution of serving the Lord by fruits of one labor. This will lead one path of nice karma or liberation. Hare Krishna.
तुरीये धर्म कला सर्गे नर नारायण विषे भूत्वात्मोपशमोपेतम akaro duscharam tapaha. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Venla Mataji.
Translation. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Narayan Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. Purport. As King Rishabha advised his sons, tapasya or voluntary acceptance of penance for realization of the transcendence is the only duty of the human being. It was also done by the Lord himself in an exemplary manner to teach us. The Lord is very kind to the forgetful souls. He therefore comes himself and leaves behind the necessary instructions and also sends his good sons as representatives to call all conditioned souls back to Godhead. Recently, within the memory of everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor to fallen souls of this age of iron industry. The incarnation of Narayana is worshipped still at Badri Narayana on the range of Himalayas. Hare Krishna.
Panchama kapiro nama siddesha kala vipluta provacha surye sankyam tattva grama vinirmaya. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Pushkala.
Hare Krishna. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost. Purport. The sum total of the creative elements is 24 in all. Each and every one of them is explicitly explained in the system of Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is generally called metaphysics by the European scholars. The etymological meaning of Sankhya is that which explains very lucidly by analysis of the material elements. This was done for the first time by Lord Kapila, who is said herein to be the fifth in line of incarnations. Hare Krishna.
Sastam atrer apathyatvam vrata prapto anasuyaya anvikshikim alalkaya Prahaladadvya Utsivan. Translation purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Sanjay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlada, and others, Yadu, Heya, etc. Purport. The Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atri and Anasuya. The history of the birth of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana in connection with the story of the devoted. It is said there that Anasuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before the Lords Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as follows: My lords, if you are pleased with me and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together become my son. This was accepted by the lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit soul and especially instructed Alarka, Prahlada, Yadu, Haya, etc. Hare Krishna.
1312. Tata Saptama Akutyam Rucher Yajno Abhyajayata Sayamadhyay Surat Ganir Apat Swayam Bhuva Bhuvavataram. Translation purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Abhishek Guru.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. Purport. The administrative posts occupied by the demigods for maintaining the regulations of material world are offered to the highly elevated pious living beings. When there is a scarcity of such pious living beings, the Lord incarnates himself as Brahma, Prajapati, Indra, etc. and takes up the charge. During the period of Swayambhuva Manu, the present period is Vaivasvata Manu. There was no suitable living being who could occupy the post of Indra, the king of Indra Lokapanad. So the Lord himself at that time became Indra. Assisted by his own sons like Yama and other demigods, Lord Yagna ruled the administration of the universal affairs.
1313. Astame Meru Devyantu Naver Jata Uruprama Darshayan Vartama Irana Sarvasrama Namaskritam. Translation purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Saraswati Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The eighth incarnation was King Krishna, son of King Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. Purport. The society of human beings is naturally divided into 8 by orders and statuses of life. The 4 divisions of occupation and 4 divisions of cultural advancement. The intelligence class, the administrative class, the productive class, and the laborer class are the 4 divisions of occupation. And the student life, householder's life, retired life, and renounced life are the 4 statuses of cultural advancement towards the path of spiritual realization. Out of these, the renounced order of life or the order of sannyasa is considered the highest of all. And a sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master for all the orders and divisions. In the sannyasa order also, there are 4 stages of upliftment towards perfection. These stages are called Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajakacarya, and Paramahamsa. The Paramahamsa stage of this life is the highest stage of perfection. This order of life is respected by all others. Maharaja Rishabha, the son of King Nabhi and Meru Devi, was an incarnation of the Lord, and he instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of spiritual happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. Every living being is searching after happiness, but no one knows where eternal and unlimited happiness is obtainable. Foolish men seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real happiness, but such foolish men forget that temporary so called happiness derived from sense pleasures is also enjoyed by the dogs and hogs. No animal, bird, or beast is bereft of this sense pleasure. In every species of life, including the human form of life, such happiness is immensely obtainable. The human form of life, however, is not meant for such cheap happiness. The human life is meant for attaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization. The spiritual realization is obtained by tapasya or undergoing voluntarily the path of penance and abstinence from material pressure. Those who have been trained for abstinence in material pleasures are called dhira or men disturbed by senses. Only these dhiras can accept the orders of sannyasa and they can gradually rise to the status of Paramahamsa, which is adored by all members of society. King Rishabha propagated this mission, and at the last stage, he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage not to be imitated by foolish men, but to be worshipped by all. Hare Krishna.
314. ऋषिभिर् याचितो बेजे नवमं पार्थिवं बहु दुग्धेमाम् ओषधिर्विप्रस् तेनयं स usatamaha. Translation purport by divine grace ऐसी भक्तिवेद श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्ण लोविश प्रभु जी.
Hare Krishna. O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed by sages, accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce. And for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive. Before the advent of King Prithu, there was great havoc of maladministration due to vicious life of previous king, the father of Maharaj Prithu. The intelligent class of men, namely the sages and brahmanas, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but also dethrone the previous king. It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all-around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of the public. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Prithu. Real intelligent men or qualified brahmanas never aspire for political post. Maharaj Prithu excavated many produces from the earth, and thus not only did the citizens become happy to have such a good king, but the complete site of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. Hare Krishna.
15. रूपं स जग्रे मात्स्यं चक्षुषोदधि संप्लवे नाभि आरोप्य महिमय्यं आपद्वैवस्वतं मनो. Translation purport by divine grace ऐसे भक्तिवेद श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्ण. हरिता माता.
Hare Krishna. Translation. When there was a complete inundation after the period of Chakshusa, Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivastava Manu, keeping him on a boat. Purport. According to Sripada Sridhara Swami, the original commentator on the Bhagavatam, there is not always a devastation after the change of every Manu. And yet this inundation after the period of Chakshusa Manu took place in order to show some wonders to Satyavrata. But Sri Jiva Goswami has given definite proofs from authoritative scriptures like Vishnu Dharmottara, Markandeya Purana, Harivamsa, etc. that there is always a devastation after the end of each and every Manu. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti has also supported Srila Jiva Goswami, and he, Sri Chakravarti, has also quoted from Bhagavatamtra about this inundation after each Manu. Apart from this, the Lord, in order to show special favor to Satyavrata, a devotee of the Lord in this particular period, incarnated himself. Hare Krishna.
Surasuranam udadi matnatam mandarachalam tadrekamata rupena pristha ekadase vibhu. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Sri Ganesh too.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theist and atheist of the universe. Purport. Once both the atheist and the theist were engaged in producing nectar from the sea, so that all of them could become deathless by drinking it. At the time of Mandarachala hill was used as a churning rod, and the shell of Lord Tortoise, the incarnation of Godhead, became the resting place pivot of the hill in the seawater.
17. Dhanvantram dvadasamam trayodasam eva cha apayat suran anyan mohinya mohyan striya. Translation purport by Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantri. In the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of women and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. 18. Chaturdasham Narasimham Bibrat Daitendrim Urjitam Dadara Karje Urav Ekrat Katakrit Yata. Translation by His Vedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Mangalam.
Hare Krishna. Translation. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narsimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as carpenter pierces the cake. Hare Krishna.
19. Panchadasam Vamanakam Prithvag Advaram Vale Padatrayam Yachamanaha Pratyadistustri Vishtabam. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Sanjay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf, Brahmana, Vamana, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaja Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. Purport. The Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning, and similarly, he can take away the kingdom of the universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. Hare Krishna.
Avatare Sodasame Pashyan Brahma Druho Napan Trisapta Kritva Kupito Nikshatram Akron Mahim. Translation purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Jnana Mahi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord, as Bhrigupati, annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriyas, 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class. The Kshatriya, or the administrative class of men, are expected to rule the planet by the direction of the intelligent class of men, who give direction to the rulers in terms of the standard sastras or the books of revealed knowledge. The rulers carry on the administration according to that direction. Whenever there is a disobedience on the part of Kshatriya or the administrative class against the orders of the learned and intelligent Brahmanas, the administrators are removed by force from the posts, and arrangement is made for better administration.
Tata Saptadashe Jata Satyavatyam Parashara Chakre Vedataro Saka Drishtva Pumso Kalpamedasha. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Pushkala.
Hare Krishna. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Purport: originally the Veda is one, but Srila Vyasadeva divided the original Veda into four, namely Sama, Yajur, Ruk, Atharvaveda, and then again they were explained in different branches like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. Vedic language and the subject matter are very difficult for ordinary men. They are understood by the highly intelligent and self-realized Brahmanas, but the present age of Kali is full of ignorant men. Even those who are born by a Brahmana father are in the present age no better than the Sudras or the women. The twice born men, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vyasas, are expected to undergo a cultural purificatory process known as samskaras. But because of the bad influence of the present age, so-called members of the Brahmana and other high-order families are no longer highly cultured. They are called the Dvaja Bandhus, or the friends and family members of the twice born. But these Dvaja Bandhus are classified among the Sudras and the women. Srila Vyasadeva divided the Vedas into various branches and sub-branches for the sake of less intelligent classes like Dvaja Bandhus, Sudras, and women. Hare Krishna.
Continue. Naradevatvam apanna Surakarya Chikirshaya Samudra Nirnigraha Dani Takre Viryani Hataparam. Translation purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Sarvapad Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Abhishek Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You both can share the same purport.
Okay. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama. In order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods, he exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist King Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. Purport. The personality of Godhead, Sri Rama, assumed the form of a human being and he appeared on the earth for the purpose of doing some pleasing work for the demigods or the administrative personalities to maintain the order of the universe. Sometimes great demons and atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu and many others become very famous due to advancing material civilization by the help of material science and other activities with a spirit of challenging the established order of the Lord. For example, the attempt to fly to other planets by material means is a challenge to the established order. The conditions of each and every planet are different, and different classes of human beings are accommodated there for particular purposes mentioned in the codes of the Lord. But puffed up by tiny success in material advancement, sometimes the godless materialists challenge the existence of God.
Ravana was one of them, and he wanted ordinary men to the planet of Indra heaven by material means without consideration of necessary qualifications. He wanted a staircase to be built up directly reaching the heavenly planet so that people might not be required to undergo the routine of pious work necessary to enter that planet. He also wanted to perform other acts against the established rule of the Lord. He even challenged the authority of Sri Rama, the personality of Godhead, and kidnapped his wife Sita. Of course, Lord Rama came to chastise this atheist, answering the prayer and the desire of demigods. He therefore took up the challenge of Ravana, and the complete activity is the subject matter of Ramayana. Because Lord Ramachandra was the personality of Godhead, he exhibited superhuman activities which no human being, including the materially advanced Ravana, could perform. Lord Ramachandra prepared a royal road on the Indian Ocean with stones that floated on the water. The modern scientists have done research in the area of weightlessness, but it is not possible to bring in weightlessness anywhere and everywhere. But because weightlessness is the creation of the Lord by which he can make the gigantic planets fly and float in the air, he made the stones even with this earth to be weightless and prepared a stone bridge on the sea without any supporting pillar. That is the display of the power of God. Hare Krishna.
At this point, today we'll stop it here. So from this my two takeaways are: this human form of body is not meant to be living like ordinary animals. Instead, it is to find what is the sole purpose of our birth. But why and who am I? The self-realization. And the last portion you have seen, we tend to become like Ravanas, finding various means to go to the upper planetary systems. But we need to be the servants of the Supreme Lord. Very good. So any other who would like to add or I close this? Thank you so much. So we'll meet again on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. वाचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, भागवतम की जय।
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.